Today we are going to hear from Sri Uddhava and Mahatma Vidura. Beautiful hair. What is our original consciousness supposed to be? What is Krishna consciousness? We will see from Uddhava today. We'll be starting the third canto. And after that, all the pastimes of Lord Krishna are quickly summarized. So when we come to third canto, we will see the shloka says, in this way, Sri Uddhava came from Bhagavan Loka to Nruloka. That's what the description there is. We are going from Nruloka to Bhagavan Loka now through Bhagavatam. So Nruloka is the mortal world. What is happening there? What is happening here? What do I do? All this, hai na? This is all material world, right? The happening world. From this world to the inner world, transcendental realm. Okay? From the external consciousness, chaos, confusion, disconnection to the internal world of eternity, connection, peace, and shelter. That's what we are hoping and praying for now through this Bhagavata Katha. So until now, what we have done, we have heard the whole Srimad Bhagavatam overview, and then the significance of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, all that in 1 hour. Brahmaji, after he does the tapasya, he gets the darshan of Mahavaikuntha, and he gets to speak with Lord Narayana, and he gets to ask questions and get the clarifications, and he got the blessings. All of this will happen to all of us in the morning after our japa yajna. Yeah. So japa will place us from Kuntha to Vaikuntha. In the words of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura in Nama Mahatmya. Yeah. So Kuntha is a place where there is confusion, disconnected, right? Vaikuntha is a place where there is complete clarity, peace, serenity, beyond connection and bonding with the Lord, right? So all that will happen through Harinam, according to the Nam Mahatmya and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura. And with that, what happens is, by taking the Harinama, all the questions, all the concerns, all the insecurities that we were feeling before, we will not have after the japa. That is the transfer from Kuntha to Vaikuntha. Yeah. And whatever perplexities that we have had, whatever direction that we might need from within, and whatever arrangements that needs to fall in place outside will happen. Yeah. So Brahma's tapasya is equal to our Nama Yajna everyday morning. That is the faith we should have. That is the faith we should have in the Harinam. Because this is what Shastra is saying. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. This is what Acharyas are saying in Nam Mahatmya. So that's where our faith is. So that we have discussed in the second canto. Now coming to the third canto. So in the second canto, after describing the creation part, so after explaining this, Shaunaka Rishi, so Suta Goswami was going to continue the secondary creation part, because until then he has explained, the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, and he said the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam, sab ho gaya. So he was about to explain what happens after the primary creation. But meanwhile, Shaunaka Rishi, he gets up and asks, oh, by the way, Guru Varya, remember you said Vidura went from Hastinapura. He went to pilgrimages, right? So we would like to hear what happened to Vidura when he went to the pilgrimages. That was his question. So the speaker, Suta Goswami, very mercifully, he changed his gears also to answer the question of Shaunaka Rishi. And that's how the third canto begins. Vidura Maitreya Samvada. So when Shaunak Rishi asked to explain about the conversation between, what happened to Vidura, who did he meet? In answer to that question, he had to say, Vidura met Maitreya and Vidura Maitreya Samvada has happened. Yeah. So that's why the third canto begins with Vidura Maitreya Samvada. But before Vidura meets Maitreya, Uddhava sends Vidura to Maitreya. So before Vidura Maitreya Samvada, there will be a little bit of Vidura Uddhava Samvada. Okay. So third canto can be divided into first Vidura Uddhava Samvada, then Vidura Maitreya Samvada. After explaining here in Vidura and Uddhava Samvada, we will see the ecstasy of Vidura, of Uddhava. What does it feel like to have pure devotion? How does devotees behave when there is pure devotion? We will see in Vidura Uddhava Samvada. In Vidura Maitreya Samvada, we will hear a little more about the primary creation. Remember, we talked about the sense devatas. Virat Rupa desires something, and that's why the sense devatas come, gross senses come, subtle senses come. That's where we heard until second chapter. So the third chapter is going to explain further. That's the connecting piece, right? And after that, we also heard about how the blueprint Virat Rupa comes. And we want to know, now that Virat Rupa is here, we want to know how Brahmadeva takes over his engineering work to do all the Brahmandas, 14 planetary systems, and how the whole universe is filled with different kind of species. That secondary creation, that is also explained in Vidura Maitreya Samvada. Yeah, so these two major chunks are explained. And after explaining that, then there is a request to please say something about Varaha Rupa, how Hiranyakashipu was killed. Okay, so the discussion goes to Lord Varaha's pastimes. What happens is, after Brahma creates, then all the Brahmanda needs to be populated, right? So in the very beginning, there was nobody but Brahma. From Brahma comes Swayambhu Manu. So Swayambhu Manu is now supposed to be a progenitor and then start filling the Brahmanda, right? But the Brahmanda is in the the Garbhodaka ocean. That needs to be lifted up. Then Varaha Avtara has to come for that. That's why the Varaha pastimes come here. So the third topic is Lord Varaha's pastimes. When Varaha is there, his eternal associate Hiranyaksha in the Virya Rasa, he's going to be there. So the fighting between Lord Varaha and Hiranyaksha is explained there. So that's the third topic. Okay, and after that, there will be some more details of what more comes from Brahma. This is all secondary creation. Whatever comes from Brahma is secondary creation. So in this, in the second part where Vidura Maitreya Samvada happens, so something is described here about secondary creation. And again, after the Varaha pastimes, a little more is described too. So in total, a lot of secondary creation is described in the third canto. Okay, and after describing that, that is only a small chunk. So we would say the first topic is Vidura and Uddhava Samvada. Next, Vidura Maitreya Samvada. Third is Varaha, Lord Varaha's pastimes. And fourth major chunk is Swayambhu Manu is there, right? And Devahuti is also there. So Devahuti, daughter of Swayambhu Manu, gets married to Kardama Muni. So that's why the fourth subject matter is Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Okay. And to Kardama Muni and Devahuti, Lord Kapila appears as their son to give us the instructions. The big chunk in third canto, Lord Kapila's instructions, beautiful subject matter of bhakti. From Kanishta Bhakti to Uttama Bhakti, everything very well explained in Lord Kapila's instructions. So that's the last subject matter in the third canto. So this is what third canto consists of. Okay, Vidura, Uddhava Samvada, Vidura, Maitreya Samvada, Lord Varaha's pastimes, and Kardama Muni Devahuti, and Lord Kapila. So 5 major topics in third canto. Okay. So today we will see Vidura Uddhava Samvada. Yeah. Here in Vidura Uddhava, if you remember in the very first canto, Vidura goes to, why does Vidura go to the pilgrimages? He was residing in Hastinapura, right? So what are the reasons that led Vidura to go to the pilgrimages? There was one life lesson that we have learned. Please see if you can recall that. When we get challenges in life, big time challenges, how are we supposed to respond? These Bhagavatas are teaching us. Mahatma Vidura has taught us. So in Hastinapura, Vidura was there, but he was seeing how Pandavas were treating unfairly. Yeah. So he saw, how Draupadi Devi was insulted in the Sabha. So the lesson from Draupadi Devi, now I think, yes, we can go to the PowerPoint presentation. This is not my laptop. Is this mine? Yes, mine, right? Okay. Yeah. Now, please see. We are going to the first canto. Are you able to see? Not yet. Okay, please remember, time is still now. Nothing is going to happen outside. We just want to hear from Uddhava and Vidura now. I'm going to share the first chapter. Yeah. Are we able to see, all of us?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yes, thank you. I'm going to expand this. Yeah. Please bear with me if you seem a little distracted here and there. So this is the first chapter. Why did Vidura leave Hastinapura? So these were all the incidents that led Vidura to leave Hastinapura. Draupadi Devi, when she was insulted, we all know how she reached out to her husbands, families, elders, everybody. Yeah. Finally, she had to call out to Keshava. Yeah. So life lesson for us is, in our life, externally, either people are helpless, they want to help us, but they are helpless, or there is no help coming. Yeah. So our shelter is always Govinda inside, right? So practically, even if we are doing whatever we need to do outside in a practical way, our faith is reposed in the Lord. So we want to get anchored to the Lord and see whatever help that comes out from outside through the people and arrangements as the help sent by Govinda inside that we are anchored to. Yeah. So that is a life lesson from Draupadi. So any help that comes from outside is the Lord sent. And if there is anything that is not favorable that is happening to outside, we don't want to have any resentment. Everything is Krishna's arrangement. Whatever help comes is Krishna's help. Our faith and anchoring is to the Lord. Yeah. And the second thing is Vidura. When Vidura was insulted by those harsh words by Duryodhana, we have talked about 3 things. How Vidura responded to that situation. It was a big insult. Vidura is an elderly, honorable person, but was insulted like that. What did he do when he was insulted like that? In spite of his wishing and doing the very best for the whole Kuru dynasty, what did Vidura do? just gonna abbreviate AHA. When something happens, when there is an insult to us in the life, this is Krishna's arrangement. It's not the people around me that is doing this. This is Krishna's arrangement. Yeah. So no resentment, no undue anger outside. H. Yes, I acknowledge there is pain in the heart. There will be pain in the heart when there is insult. Yeah. So yes, I acknowledge there is pain in the heart. I see this Krishna's arrangement. I also feel the pain in the heart. We feel it when there is an insult. We are not ignoring it. But next A is action. We do not want to react to the situation. What is the best thing to do now? Action. Vidura, he saw that there was nothing good that he could do at that time. Nobody was ready to hear anything. So he quietly left the place. That was the action. If you would have shouted and did this and that, that would have been reaction. So from Vidura, from these Bhagavatas, we are seeing and hearing how we want to conduct ourselves when there is an insult in the life, in our lives. So seeing that as Krishna's arrangement, yes, acknowledging there will be pain, but we want to act to the situation, not react. So sometimes acting means doing something right away. And sometimes it means we have to wait for the right time. Yeah. So acting is always under our control. Reacting is not under our control. And acting is always beneficial. Reacting is not necessarily beneficial. Yeah. So that's from Mahatma Vidura, when there is an insult. So like that, Vidura has seen all these things happening and Pandavas were not given their kingdom. So he went to Dhritarashtra and said, no, this is not, this is, yeah, you can see that. So Dhritarashtra, all their atrocities and how they cheated Pandavas. So Vidura went there, he went to Dhritarashtra and said, see, Krishnad Vimuko, your Dhritarashtra, your son Duryodhana is Vimuka to Krishna. And this is not auspicious. It's not going to be auspicious to the family and to the dynasty also. So you have to put him aside. So those are very sharp, bold words from a sadhu. Of course, not well taken by Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. And that's why he was asked to leave. Because Duryodhana got so upset. He said, you are here eating our food and you are supporting the enemies. How dare you talk like that? You leave now. So he orders the soldiers to just leave him only with the breath and then do the Bahishkarana to just banish from the kingdom. That's how Vidura ends up in the pilgrimages. So Vidura understood this as Krishna's arrangement to take him out from all the political matters. So this is how he understood. This is Krishna's arrangement. Oh, so merciful. He wanted me to somehow take out from these political matters and then just get close to his the places. That's how he arranged. So that's how he looked at, and he left the pilgrimages. And then he goes to many pilgrimages. At last, he goes to Prabhasa Kshetra. And then at the bank of river Yamuna, he meets Uddhava. Okay. Now, Vidura is, yeah, so this we have discussed. Vidura traveled many holy places. He had darshan of many deities, but he meets Uddhava. Now, please see. Vidura, he was asking Uddhava. When we meet, we ask, right? Like, we're doing well here. How are you doing? What's up? Yes, how are things going? Vidura asks the same thing too. So how is everybody there in Dwaraka, right? And he also said how the Hastinapura was when he was leaving, and he didn't know what happened after that. So he asked, how is everybody there in Dwaraka? How is Krishna and Pradyumna and Balarama and? But Uddhava, Vidura was asking all these questions. Uddhava could not speak a word. Why couldn't he speak a word? it took time for Uddhava even to respond to Vidura. Why is it like that? What happened to Uddhava? Oh, first chapter is finished. That's why I'm like, why is this not going further? So the first chapter is just this, Vidura meeting Uddhava. Okay, now the conversation will be in the second chapter. So first chapter and fourth, they are pretty quick. The second chapter has the subject matter. Yeah, so we get into the second chapter now. You look at that, that's Uddhava. He looks exactly like Lord Krishna. Can you say the difference, please, between Uddhava and Lord Krishna? You can guess. That's one thing that Lord Krishna has, but Uddhava does not have. Yeah, flute, definitely. And if I'm not wrong, I saw peacock feather there. If there is peacock feather, that's Lord Krishna, that's not Uddhava. So, yeah, flute and peacock feather. Okay, now Uddhava is speaking. Uddhava's exalted position. Where is Uddhava? Yeah, yes. Okay, ecstatic sentence. So Uddhava was unable to speak due to remembrance of the Lord. This is how the second chapter is beginning. Vidura just asks the question, how is Krishna doing? Such a casual question. It's taking time for Uddhava to even respond. We have heard about ecstasy in separation, right? Ecstasy in separation in case of gopis. We have heard about it. This is what Uddhava is experiencing. We know the ecstasy in union. Yeah, when Lord Krishna is physically present, Uddhava had many pastimes there in Dwaraka. But now, Uddhava is having ecstasy in separation. So this is the description, how it goes, ecstasy in separation. So it took time for Uddhava to even respond. Yeah. And it is because Uddhava was so much attached to Krishna, even from childhood. Even his play toys were all Krishna only. So to those toys, he used to bathe the toys. He used to feed the toys. He used to dress the toys. So with such an absorption and attachment since the childhood, yeah, we have deities too, right? So when we are cooking for the deities, when we are offering bhoga, feeding the deities, doing the abhishekam, it's very, very nice to think of Mahatma, Uddhava, how he was so naturally attached since the childhood too. That was his deity worship since the childhood. So I was just thinking of our deities, of how we treat our deities, how it was so difficult for Uddhava to come out of the attachment, how it is little difficult for us to develop that attachment. But we are in sadhana bhakti. They are in sadhya. So we want to look at them, get inspired. And when we think of them, then we get a little drop of that. So that's why we are hearing. Okay. But that's the attachment of Uddhava to Krishna. So it was difficult for him to even utter a word. Krishna is not present in front of him physically. But look at the absorption of Uddhava, that he is unable to even respond to a formal question. This is why it is said that ecstasy in separation is even more deeper and denser than the ecstasy in union. Okay. Then, when Vidura asks this question, Uddhava by that time was old. Bhagavatam is saying, in spite of his old age, his devotion did not slacken. Devotion and devotional service, they go together, did not slacken. So as soon as he heard about Krishna, he could not stop himself to speak something about Krishna. Of course, he is having difficulty in bringing the words up because of the ecstasy, but that attachment to Krishna, which is coming out in the form of service, that's the point. The age there is not the limit. The internal attachment of a devotee to the Lord, see how that is coming out as a service. Here the service means hearing is also service. Speaking about Bhagavan is also service. Hearing is service. Speaking is service. And any physical action, the Cheshta Rupa Bhakti is all service, not just Cheshta Rupa Bhakti. hearing is the first and foremost service. Hearing and speaking. So here, Uddhava wanted to speak. He wanted to serve. That's also service. He wants to speak. So despite his old age, Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami is saying, his age did not stop him in performing his service. So हम लोग को material retirement होता है ना? Yes, for our regular jobs, we look for retirement. Devotion, in devotion, the service, as we get deeper in devotion, we only want more of it. We do not want to retire. That's the beauty of it. So that's what Uddhava is showing here. Yeah. And please see, this is all because he's so much absorbed, attached inside that he cannot stop himself from doing that service, right? So yeah, then he was trying to bring his words together. He was trying to speak, but his ecstatic symptoms, they started coming out, not the words. So much absorption in Krishna. This is the ecstasy in separation. When the object of worship is in front of us, it's ecstasy in union. Okay, yes, object of worship is there. Krishna is there, and Uddhava, they would have a conversation. Good conversation. But Krishna is not there. So all that focus of object of worship, the external has also come into internal now. When there is ecstasy in union, in other words, when the Lord is there and devotee is there, yes, the ecstasy is there and the Bhagavan is right there. But now Bhagavan external is not present. So that has also come into inside. So it got more deeper, more denser. And this is what Uddhava is having now. And that's why the symptoms are coming out, not the words yet, but the symptoms first. So all the Ashtasattvika Vikar, they were happening. And Vidura was just watching this. He only asked a casual talk. How are you? How is everybody there? That's all. After that, all this is happening with Uddhava, that he is so much absorbed. He has difficulty even for the words to come out. And his attachment is so much that his age is not limiting him from speaking about Krishna. And even before the words are coming out, the Ashtasattvika Vikar is coming out. This is the avastha of Uddhava, ecstasy in separation. Looking at all this, Vidura was just watching. Like, what is happening? He looked at all the avastha. He's seeing that Uddhava is trying to speak, but the words are not coming. He's quiet. And Vidura is just waiting patiently, very patiently, until the answer comes. For us, do we have that patience? Text. Where is the answer yet? I just sent the text. There's no response yet. Email. Where is the answer yet? So, I mean, we are hearing about Vidura, so some patience can come from there. That's why we are hearing Bhagavad Gita. So when there is a question that we pose to anybody, we do not know what the situation is outside. Or maybe they are in ecstasy too, and they have difficulty giving the answer. Whatever might be, we don't want to jump into any conclusions. We want to be patient. Okay. So Vidura is just patiently waiting, and he's seeing the difficulty that Uddhava going through, sweet difficulty, ecstasy that Uddhava is going through. And after he saw all that, now Vidura is asking. Vidura is much older than Uddhava, elderly, but he is asking, can I become your Sishya? I only asked, how is Krishna? Look at your ecstasy in separation. You have your personification of that ecstasy of separation. Can I be your disciple? Would you please instruct me? So that way I can get to where you are. So that was Vidura's request. Can I be your Sishya? That would be at the end. But these are the ecstatic symptoms that Uddhava had. So now, Uddhava, now he is, Bhagavatam is beautifully described that He is coming from Bhagavan Loka to Nruloka. This is what I was saying just a while ago. He was in the Loka of Bhagavan, ecstasy of separation. And now coming to Nruloka. Nruloka is Loka of the mortal beings, our external communications. So that's the sthiti of Uddhava. So he slowly wakes up. He comes from internal consciousness to external consciousness, just to respond to the answers of Vidura. Okay. Now, when somebody is just waking up from sleep, then the talk doesn't have to fall in a sequence. So now Uddhava speaks about the pastimes of Krishna. He wouldn't start with the birth of Krishna like that. As he comes into the external consciousness, first thing Uddhava says is about the gopis' attachment to Krishna. When somebody goes into unconscious stage and then starts to come to the conscious stage, what comes out first is whatever has caused deep samskara in them, right? Yeah. It's because when Uddhava went to Vrindavan, he thought he would just console gopis and say that, okay, all you gopis, you are like souls, you know, Krishna is like a super soul. So for you, Krishna is sitting in your heart as super soul. So even if he's not in Vrindavan, you could still meditate. That's what he wanted to say, Uddhava. And after he stepped in Raja, he actually said that. And everybody in Vrindavan, the gopis, Yashoda Mai, Nanda Maharaja, he looks at Uddhava like, kya pagal hai? What are you talking about? Is this what you want to tell? He's super soul? Are you mad? Are you a fool? No, he's my son. That's what Yashoda Mai Nanda Baba says. And the gopis, they also in the same manner relates to the Lord so much as beloved. Here Yashoda Mai and Nanda Baba also relating the Lord, relating to the Bhagavan as beloved. And Uddhava looks at it. He had no clue that something like this exists. This is why Lord Krishna has sent Uddhava to Vrindavan. He said, okay, Uddhava, you are the right messenger. Can you please go and console the Vrajvasis? Then Uddhava thought, okay, Brihaspati Sishya, full of jnana. Of course, Krishna is Paramatma sitting in the heart. Maybe the Vrajvasis did not know. I'll go remind them. He learned the lessons from Vrajvasis. After looking at the mood of Vrajvasis, how they are so absorbed in the bond with Bhagavan as beloved, that's when he came to know what pure bhakti means. Until then, he didn't know. He had no clue of what that pure bhakti means. So after he saw that, then his prayer was, if only I can be a blade of grass in Vrindavan, just so that when the gopis walk thereby, the dust of the gopis would fall on my head, and maybe I'll get a little droplet of that bhava they have towards Bhagavan. So that was a deep impression to Uddhava. And now as Uddhava is coming out from his internal consciousness to external consciousness, that's the first thing he says about the gopis. And after that, Uddhava speaks about the tattva, same as Kunti Devi. Kunti Devi, when she was speaking, her teachings were like, antarbahir avastitam, right? And you are present, but you were not recognized by anybody. So that's the tattva Kunti Devi was presenting there during her prayers. Same Uddhava also says this. You are present. You were in the Yadu dynasty. You were one among the Yadus, but not everybody could recognize you. Uddhava says, you are super soul, because remember Uddhava is a Jnana Bhakta. Yeah. But not all the Yadus knew that you are a super soul. So only those who got affected in the Yadus, in the big family of Lord Krishna, Yadus, there were associates of Lord Krishna, but there were also demigods too that entered into the family. So they were like mortal beings. They did not know about Lord Krishna. Okay. So, and in that context, Uddhava is saying how Devasya Maya Sprishta Echa Anyas Asadashritaha Brahmyate Dirna Tadvakyai Atmani Uttatmanoharo. This shloka is pretty deep. It says that, Devasya Maya Sprishta Echa Anyat Asad Ashritaha. Whoever has taken shelter of the external energy, whatever they may talk, Brahmyate dhir natad vakyair atmani uttat manoharu. Whatever they may talk, but the bhaktas who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Hari will not be bewildered by their talk. This reminds us very much of Srila Prabhupada's purport. All Prabhupada's purport, in this day and age, how much bombardment is there about the external talk in the name of science, in the name of advancement, everything. But look at Srila Prabhupada's purport. Brahmyate dhir nathad vakya. There is not budging an inch from disclosing the spiritual truth. Yeah. So that's what Uddhava says. And then that's about the tattva. Okay. So Uddhava talked about tattva. Next, Srimad Bhagavatam has. Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. How? Because Srimad Bhagavatam is giving us the Rupa, Guna, and Leela of Bhagavan. This is why this is Bhagavat Katha, right? So far, Uddhava has given the information about Tattva, and now he's saying how beautiful the Lord is. Yan Matya Leela Upaikam Swayoga Maya Balam Darshayata Grihitam Vismapanam Swayascha Subhagaddehe Param Padam Bhushana Bhushanangam. Param Padam Bhushana Bhushanangam. Lord Krishna is the ornament for the ornaments. He is the ornament. Why like that? Because the form that he took is very much suitable to perform the human pastimes. And the charming form is so beautiful that Lord Narayana himself wanted to see the form of Dvibhuja, Krishna. Lord Narayana, there's a pastime we will see where the Brahmana's boy was killed, and then Lord Krishna has to go to Mahavishnu, and the conversation goes on between Mahavishnu and Krishna. So the whole point is Mahavishnu wanted to have darshan of the beautiful form of Lord Krishna. That's why he made an arrangement so Krishna could come there. So that's why here the shloka is saying Swasyacha. Even Narayana wanted to see the Saundarya of Krishna. So that's how the Lord's beauty is. Lord's beauty is so much so that he is the ornament that brings the beauty to the ornaments. So that's about the Rupa of the Lord that he describes. And after that, he says how Lord Krishna, this is in a nutshell, this conversation in the second chapter now, and a little bit in the third chapter, is a nutshell, the whole 10th chapter. All the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwaraka are quickly touched upon. That's what we are seeing. After, now he mentions about the Rajasuya Yajna. And here, this is the gopis that we have already discussed. Now, you see this, how haphazard he's talking. Now he's talking about the birth of Krishna, after talking about the gopis and Rajasuya Yajna, because he's just coming to the external consciousness. So whatever has caused impact on him, so that came out, and now he's trying to format a little bit from how the Lord took birth in Mathura and then came to and was brought to Vrindavana. And please see that. Now, these are the gunas of the Lord starting. So far, he is talking about Tattva, how he was not realized as the super soul by some Yadus. And after that, he described the beauty of the Lord. So much so that Lord Narayana wanted to see his beauty, and his beauty brings the beauty to the ornaments. After describing the beauty, Rupa, now he's starting to describe the guna. Okay, the first guna is, once smelling dust of Lord's lotus feet, no one can forget it. That's the beauty of bhakti. Same thing was said in the initial chapters by Narada Muni. If somebody does a little bit of bhakti, even if they can't do it much later, they are booked for good, for the life, for eternality. Because the taste of devotional service makes them think more and more about Krishna. That's what it is. Once smelling the dust of Lord's lotus feet, no one can forget it. This is about the guna. Okay, now in this guna, now the combination of guna and lila are coming out. Lord Krishna, how merciful he is, how dayalu he is. When we hear Nama Rupa Guna Lila, we are like, okay, Nama Rupa Guna Lila, but what is that? Nama, okay, there are so many Nama in Bhagavatam. Krishna, Govinda, Gopi Jana, Vallabha, these are all Nama, right? Now we are coming to Guna. Because whatever is said in Bhagavatam, whatever we hear in Bhagavatam, will be experienced in the Harinama. That's the whole point. How Lord Krishna is a Bhaktavatsala. And how Harinama is going to be Bhaktavatsala. Something that has taken us from Kunta to Vaikunta is a Bhaktavatsala. From misery to Ananda, to cooling shelter is Bhaktavatsala, right? So whatever is Uddhava is saying, Nama Rupa Guna Leela. Uddhava is saying now, and again this will be repeated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is none other than Krishna with Nama Rupa Guna Leela. Harinama is also none other than Krishna with Nama Rupa Guna Leela. Only thing is, we are hearing about Nama Rupa Guna Leela in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is perceived in Harinama. This is why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Harinama can take us from Kunta to Vaikunta. This is why all the Acharya songs are like in Nama Mahatmya. And if you see the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song in Nama Mahatmya, he talks about the spiritual body at the end of the Nama Mahatmya. So whatever Srimad Bhagavatam has, Krishna has here, Nama Rupa Guna Leela, is there in the Harinama. Here we are hearing, there we will perceive. This is what we are trying to bring attention to. So whenever we are hearing now, Nama Rupa Guna Leela in Bhagavatam, from each Bhagavata, this is what we want to keep in mind. Yeah. So far we have heard Tattva, we have heard about the beautiful Rupa, and now we are hearing about the combination of Guna and Leela. When we are saying the Lord is a liberator, the Guna there is mercy. And there is a pastime associated with that. To Shishupala, this is the example Uddhava is giving. The Lord mercy is so abundant, so causeless, that he gave liberation even to somebody who is blaspheming. Then he speaks about Shishupala. Next he comes to, his mercy is so powerful. Yes, Nana, this is really the crux of the matter. Yes. Oh yes, Putana is coming very soon. We will wind down very soon, maybe next 10 minutes, but this is really the crux of the matter. So please pay attention, because this is the guna of Bhagavan. Why are we doing bhakti? We should be filled inside with the absorption of the guna in Bhagavan. That's how our faith grows also. And that's why Uddhava is saying all these guna. Okay, we want to focus there. That's why. So, to Shishupala, who is so inimical, he gave liberation, right? It's like sunlight. However dirty the water is, doesn't matter. It gets disinfected like that. So next example is, this shloka is very beautiful. Tadaiva chanya naraloka veera ye ahave Krishna mukhara vindam netrai pibanto nayana bhiramam Parthastra Puta Padamapurasya. Beautiful. Partha Astra Puta Padamapurasya. Partha's Astra, Arjuna's arrows, Puta, are purifying the soldiers, the enemies on the other side. As Arjuna's arrows are purifying the enemies on the other side, because the enemies are Tadaiva Chanya Naraloka Veera, all the Naraloka Veeras, the enemies that are standing on the other side. Ye ahave Krishna Mukhara Vindam, they are looking at the Mukhara Vindam of Lord Krishna. Netrai Pibanto Nayanabhiramam, they are appreciating, they're drinking the beauty of the lotus face like Krishna, they're drinking the beauty with their eyes. Netrai Pibanto Nayanabhiramam. As they're drinking the beauty of the lotus face of Lord Krishna, Arjuna is releasing the arrows from that side, Parthastra Puta. Those arrows are hitting the enemies, this Naraloka Veeras, purifying them. And what is happening to them? Padamapurasya. They are being transferred to the eternal world. So just even for the enemies too, just because they are drinking the beauty of the face of the Lord, lotus face of the Lord on the battlefield, that's all they did. Whatever had to happen, the purification happened, the arrow hit, and then the next destination is Vaikuntha. What is that mercy? They came there to fight against the Pandavas. Doesn't matter if they are enemies. Doesn't matter if they are blaspheming Krishna. And the next example is, doesn't matter if somebody is coming to kill him. Putana came to kill Krishna. Even to the killers, he's a transporter to the spiritual world. He transported Putana to Vraja, not even Vaikuntha. He gave that motherly place to Putana. So even to the killers, he is the transporter to the Vraja. This is the shloka that brought Shukadeva Goswami. This is one of the shloka that brought Shukadeva Goswami from Brahmananda to Bhaktiananda. He couldn't comprehend who is the source of mercy. Are there no rules? Are there no limits? Are there no causes for his mercy? He just gives and gives. I want to know more about that personality. That's how he came from Brahmananda to Bhaktiananda, to know about Bhagavan. This merciful Bhagavan, I want to know more and more. That is Bhakti. So this is the mercy of the Lord. So this is the guna of the Lord, the mercy. Even if we can comprehend or not, the mercy is so abundant. Even if it is visible or not, even if we can accept it or not, during difficult times, it's very hard. But the mercy is abundant. All that comes from Krishna is just mercy, nothing else. So that's guna of the Lord. Nama, Rupa, guna of the Lord. And we have seen the Leelas. Through the Leelas, the guna has been described. Through the Leela in the Kurukshetra, through the Leela by Putana, through the Leela at the Rajasuya Yajna, all the gunas of the Lord has been described, right? And yeah, so the Lord is the transporter even to the killers. And then the other pastimes of how he's in Vrindavan, rest of the pastimes in the Vrindavan are described, and how he does the Kaliya Mardana, chastises Kaliya, and then Govardhan Giri. All those pastimes are described. We're not going in detail, I'm just mentioning them. But we have so far discussed over, that's the second chapter. First chapter, second chapter over, and third chapter is just a run through again. So far all Vraja Leelas, right? Next one would be Vrindavan, the Mathura Leelas, ending, going to the Dwaraka Leelas. See, that's the chariot, Lord Krishna there, that's Rukmini Devi. So now we know where we are, right? The pastimes are proceeding. So Raja's pastimes over. Oh, actually now, yeah, these are Madhura pastimes. From Raja, Govinda, Lord Krishna came to Madhura. He killed Kamsa, and then that was just it's just the first slide of the third chapter. But the pastimes are continuing. So from Vraja to Madhura, he killed Kamsa, and then the education part next, Sandipani Muni, and then kidnapping of Rukmini Devi, right? And then this is now, after the education, this is about the queen's marriage, and Princess Nagnijiti. These are the pastimes. They will come in detail in the 10th chapter, but this is all about the marriages. And then the Satyabhama Parijata tree, that pastime. And then Narakasura's pastime there. After that, you know, all the queens there. How many queens are there? 16,000, Henna? Yeah, 16,000 queens. No, 16,100. 8 principal queens are already there in Dwaraka, right? So there are 16,100. And please notice here, there is no end for the mercy of the Lord here. Here, Narakasura, after killing Narakasura, in those day and age, if a woman is under captivation, under, you know, a king or somebody, then she is not considered pure anymore. Lord Krishna is beyond that. Narakasura, just kill Narakasura and all those princesses there under captivity. He is Parthastra Puta Padamapurasya. All that he knows is only purification and mercy. So he rescued, he not only released the princesses, but he made all of them his consorts, his wives. Such purification, Bhagavan. So all Bhagavan, like sun, all sun knows is detoxify, purify. That's it, nothing more. So all Lord Krishna can do is just mercy and mercy. Same thing with Harinam. All that can come from Harinam is mercy and mercy only. Bhaktavatsala, Lord Krishna. Harinam is the same thing too. So whenever we are hearing these pastimes, these gunas and leelas of Krishna that we are hearing Bhagavata are the gunas and leelas of the Krishna that is present in the Harinama. That is why Harinama takes us from Kunta to Vaikuntha. So 16,108 queens, marriage. And with all of them, he could stay simultaneously. Okay. And after that, up until now, how merciful the Lord is. Okay. And now these 2-3 examples are how he gives credit to his devotees, how he arranges certain things so the credit can go to devotees. Like to kill Kalayavana, Muchakunda, right? He did not directly kill, but so that's how he gave the credit to Muchakunda. And to kill Jarasandha, he did not directly kill. That's through Bhima. Yeah, Jarasandha. So how he gives the credit to the devotees, that's the next. That's also there in the gunas. The 64 qualities of Lord Krishna, these are all the descriptions of that. Not only he is famous, he is merciful, but he is also Bhaktavatsala, but he also gives the credit to the devotees. These are all the descriptions of the gunas. Yeah. And how he gave the credit to Arjuna. In Vishwarupa, he said, one blank statement, he said that, Arjuna, you have seen my Vishwarupa, right? So what did Arjuna see in Vishwarupa? That all the Kauravas are already dead. In the Vishwarupa, there was both Virat Rupa and Kala Rupa. So Kala Rupa was showing what the future is. The future part, the Kala Rupa was showing that all these Kauravas, they're just going into the mouth and their heads are being smashed in the canine teeth of the Kala Rupa. So he already saw Arjuna, what the outcome is going to be. Or dekhne ke baad, then, yeah, so kam ho gaya. Even if Arjuna kills or not, Pandavas are going to kill or not, that didn't really matter. The future was already shown. Kam to ho gaya. Lekin Arjun ko credit dena hai na. So Arjuna, you have seen what you have seen, right? Now, you want to fight or not is up to you. I have done whatever needs to be done. I have done. So, Bhava Savyasachi. So what he says was, now it's up to you. So you decide. So like that, how he gave credit to Arjuna for the Kurukshetra war. So this is how he's describing how Lord Krishna is giving credit to his devotees. He could do it all. He actually did it all in Kurukshetra, but how he's giving credit to devotees. So that's how. And then, Parikshit Maharaj, about our first canto here. Now that he has described all that, and now he's coming to the explanation of the prayers of Queen Uttara, Kunti Devi, that we all have. We are very much familiar with all those personalities now, right? Uttara Devi, Kunti Devi. Yeah, so that's what he has described. And Dwaraka prayers of Dwaraka Vasis, remember? After hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, Yudhishthira, Bhishma, and then Hastinapura Vasis, and then Dwaraka Vasis, same thing. So Uddhava is saying. So everything is going in a nutshell there. All the praise of Dwaraka Vasis and all the queens in Dwaraka. So everything in a nutshell, ho gaya. And after all, after enumerating all the pastimes, he comes to the very final one. How his who is that? Who dresses up as a pregnant one? Samba. Thank you. Yeah. You think I'm looking at the screen. Now you know I'm not looking at the screen. I am thinking about the time actually. Yeah, Samba. So that last pastime, he enumerates that also. And how, yeah, that's about the end of the third chapter. And in the fourth chapter, what happened after Samba? He dresses up as pregnant woman and then goes to the sages and asks whether he was gonna, the Yadus around would ask if this pregnant lady, Samba, is gonna give birth to a boy or girl. So in that way, they were mocking, they were joking. And the sages, they cursed that the club that is given birth by the Samba would be the reason for the destruction of the Yadu dynasty. So until then, all those pastimes were described in the third chapter. And after that, in this fourth chapter, now that all the pastimes are over, now Lord Krishna, I think we can go in detail about these pastimes in the 10th chapter, but he comes here on the bank of river Saraswati, I think. Yes. So there, because of that curse and because of that iron club that was really powdered, the Yadus, they were brought from Dwaraka to Prabhasa Kshetra, right? Prabhasa Kshetra. And the reason here is, this we will mention. The reason here is, Dwaraka is an eternal abode. And there are many eternal associates of the Lord in the Yadus also. But those Yadus that were demigods and they were still mortal beings, they had to be brought out of Dwaraka to an ordinary place, because Dwaraka is an eternal place, right? So that's why in the name of some rituals, all the Yadus, most of the Yadus, the mortal, the demigods in the form of Yadus, they were all brought to Prabhasa Kshetra. And there, we have heard, right, that they drank that intoxicant and they started killing each other. And that's how Yadu dynasty underwent destruction in that pastime. So that has happened. And Lord Krishna is sitting there under small banyan tree. There Uddhava comes there. So Uddhava is describing all these pastimes. He says, I've already received instructions in Dwaraka. When Lord Krishna was ready to leave, he instructed me to go to Badrikashrama, but I could not leave him. So he followed Krishna from Dwaraka to this place besides the Saraswati river, and there the conversation happens. Here Lord Krishna says, I have instructed Bhagavatam to Brahma in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. Now I want to give more confidential information to you. This is an important piece. That's why I'm bringing to your attention. So there is some Uddhava, there will be instructions given by the Lord to Uddhava. And you see Maitreya Muni is also there. He happened to be there. I mean, he was a Jnana Bhakta, curiosity, out of curiosity. But with this incident here, with the conversation he heard between Lord Krishna and Uddhava, he also became a pure devotee. This is how Maitreya Muni knew what conversation went between Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, and Uddhava. Now, this is why when Vidura asked, now can you please make me your disciple? Can you instruct me? That's when Uddhava says, no. You are, Maitreya also heard this conversation about this confidential information that Bhagavan gave to me. Maitreya was also there. So you please go to Maitreya Muni. Because Uddhava is very young when compared to Vidura. And it is a Maryada Vitikrama. It's not an etiquette to instruct such an elderly person. So that's why he was trying to direct Vidura to Maitreya. So for us to understand, we had to go through this thing. Yeah. So during that conversation, Maitreya was present. So here, 2 points, and we are going to pause the katha here. Here, when Vidura is asking Uddhava, can you please make me your Sishya? Then Uddhava says, you please go to Maitreya. I will need to go to Badrikashrama now. I do not want to delay. Srila Prabhupada explains very beautifully. The instruction of the Lord or representative of the Lord. Following the instruction of the Lord means being with the Lord. So Uddhava could not bear the separation. If he's waiting a little more in order to follow the instruction, it means a lot of weight and he could not bear it. So he wanted to quickly follow the instruction of Lord Krishna. So following the instruction of the Lord or the representative of the Lord means being with them. This thing comes again and again. This is our great rescue. Srila Prabhupada, somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, yeah, are you not missing your Gurudeva? And then he goes, no, he's always with me because he's following his instruction, right? So following the instruction of Sri Guru or the Lord means being with Sri Guru and the Lord. And this is an eternal principle. Eternal principle. Yeah, that's one point. And the last point is here, when Uddhava describes everything that has happened, whatever has happened in Dwaraka, after describing all the pastimes, he also says what happened after Kurukshetra. That's when Vidura comes to know the result of the war. Until then, he didn't know much. So it was hurtful to Vidura to know that all his family members were gone. Though they were not really pious, not all of them, but Bhishma was gone. All those ones who are really dear to him are all gone. So he was shaken for a moment, hearing that news. But immediately it is described there, because of his transcendental knowledge that he have acquired, he could compose himself. This is one more point that we want to bring to our attention. When something shakes up in our life, then what is our anchor? For Mahatma Vidura, it was transcendental knowledge. And again, he was with the devotees. So transcendental knowledge, devotee association, yeah, instruction of the Guru, Harinama, these are all the anchors for us when something shakes up. But for Mahatma Vidura, it was transcendental knowledge. Shastra Chakshu. Disturbance is there, but again, what is the Shastra saying? So that's what Mahatma Vidura did. That's all for today. These are the lessons. From Vidura, from Uddhava, right? Yeah, and then Vidura goes to Maitreya. So from Yamuna, from the bank of river Yamuna, he goes to Maitreya Muni, where is he? Maitreya Muni, Yamuna to, here it is. Vidura reached Ganges and Maitreya. Yeah, so to Ganga Thiram. From Yamuna Thira, he goes to Ganga Thira. From Uddhava to Maitreya. And that's when Uddhava and Maitreya Samvada starts, and that will be in the next session. I did not think that we were going to complete these sessions honestly. From the very beginning, all sorts of different kinds of obstacles, but we were able to hear the katha, and we could travel from Braja to Dwaraka, literally in a chariot. So quickly, what we have heard is in the third canto, we have talked about Vidura and Uddhava Samvada. In the first chapter, Vidura met Uddhava, and in the second and third chapters, in the very beginning of the second chapter, we have heard about the internal consciousness of Uddhava and his Bhava Bhakti and the manifestations of Bhava Bhakti. And slowly, as he was coming out from that internal conscious to external consciousness, he was narrating all the pastimes of the Lord. That's how we have heard the second and third chapters. From the appearance of the Lord in Mathura to the very end. And after that, Maitreya Vidura asked Uddhava to please accept him as a disciple, but Uddhava directs Vidura to Maitreya Muni. And then there we have discussed about, yes, the instruction from the Lord or Sri Guru. Following their instruction means living with them. Guru Tattva, Paramat Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva are eternal. Okay. And then we have talked about Vidura, how he took shelter of the Shastra when he was shaken up with the news of the demise of his family members. So that's how first, second, third, fourth chapters of the third canto are completed with the mercy of Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Sudarshan Ji ki Geetai Gaura Chandra ki Shri Radha Gopal Ji ki jai, Radha Golokananda ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, online devotees, thank you so much for your patience. You were really with us as we were navigating through, trying to overcome the obstacles. Any questions, comments? All in person we can have during the prasadam time, but we'll give a minute or two for the online devotees. If you have anything, please. Yes. I don't know, Prabhu. Yeah, it's okay. I think we are done with the Katha for today. So, yeah. It's okay, Prabhu. We are actually going to stop the session also now. Yeah, we'll do it. That's okay. And if there are any questions, maybe we can take it in the next session. Yeah, if that's okay with you all. Thank you all so very much. All of you too. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You also